Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're from. Happy to have you here for a user group discussion, a partner showcase featuring Xpertdoc. I'm happy to be your host this morning. I'm Tony Stein, the program director with the CRM user group. Grateful to have Francis and Jim on with us from Xpertdoc. This is a user group webinar, but I also realized last week coming back from Convergence 2014 that some of you may not be as familiar with the user group, but we're happy to have you on this call to kind of feature and highlight what Xpertdoc does, and including giving us a little chance to show you some of the things we do in the user group leveraging their capabilities. So it's we're a case study in ourselves, so we're happy to do that. Just some housekeeping items. We are going to record this webinar today, and we'll certainly post this to crmug.com. We'll post it to our public website as well as in CRMUG Collaborate, our social tool that everyone goes to. I know Marlene with Xpertdoc will be posting this to some of you as well on the Xpertdoc website, so we'll share the recording. If you have questions throughout this webinar, we'll host those at the end or hold them for the end of the call. And I know Jim and Francis and others will be happy to field some questions. So just simply use the question panel in the GoToWebinar control panel that you see in the lower right-hand corner, and we'll get to those as we can. Because of the audience, we're going to keep everybody on mute so that people can clearly hear our presenters today, and we'll get to your questions at the end of this hour. Just some quick news items to share. Wanted to make sure everyone was aware of some things that are going on in the user group. I mentioned the social standard for CRMUG members, which is our Collaborate community. There's over 3,000 people now authenticated to this user group community. So if you're part of CRMUG, and it's anybody that uses Dynamics CRM can be a part of the user group. So I encourage you to take a look at this tool and become a member at some level. And join our community, join these discussions, learn from other peers in like roles and like industries. Our chapter meetings are going on right now. There's a lot going on here for May and June in particular coming up in the upcoming months. There's 65 local user groups across the world that are all affiliated with the CRM user group. We hope you take part in that local learning. And also wanted to bookmark our marquee event coming up this October called Summit 2014. It's in St. Louis, Missouri. Our upcoming virtual events calendar is very busy. We have another great webinar this afternoon for those of you that are looking to understand Outlook integration best practices with CRM 2013. We have some great Academy courses on the show on the docket around this Black Belt training series that we've been doing. There's some great roundtables in store, some webinar topics, other partner showcases, special interest groups. You can see just a whole plethora of events here happening in the next 3 to 4 weeks. So that's what we do. We do about 120 to 130 different virtual webinars on a given year, and there's a lot of learning taking place here in the user group. So dive into these things and join us if you can. I mentioned Summit, but it's, our theme this year is Experience It. If you haven't been to CRMUG Summit before, there's no other conference in the world that's like it because it's a down-to-earth coffee shop roundtable, peer-to-peer kind of a learning experience for people to dive into things. And we're going to be in St. Louis this October 14th through the 17th. We hope you can look into this, take a look at things. I'll be working on content and sessions and things in the next couple months. By June, we'll have most of our session titles and topics listed and things. So keep this on your calendar, if you will, and be sure to visit this in due time. I mentioned Collaborate. I won't expand too much onto that. But also for those of you a part of the user group and you want to speak maybe at Summit, you want to share on a webinar topic, you want to contribute to our magazine, we're always looking for perspective from other people in the community. You know more about CRM than you might think. So visit our volunteer page and understand what it takes to contribute to the user group. Be a leader in the user group community. My colleague always says givers gain, and we certainly think that holds true here across CRMUG. And I mentioned real quick that membership to the user group, we're a formal association of users, if you will. Everybody that uses Dynamics CRM can be a part of who we are, but at an organizational level, there's some value becoming a premium member, and it's based on an organizational cost per year. It's like an association due, and depending on how many users of CRM you have internally, that's how your organization is charged. But it's a price per year to be a premium member. We encourage you to take a look at what you get with becoming a premium member, and you can email us at membership@crmug.com to learn more, and we'll certainly help you out. with all that, we're 5 minutes past the hour. Let's get to the heart of today's presentation with our partner showcase. I'm going to promote Jim Thuma to our presenter, and very much appreciate your time, Jim and Francis, and you have the floor.
Tony, thank you very much for the introduction and getting us started, and thanks for the community and everyone coming today. Today, our topic, putting the sizzle in Dynamics CRM with better documents faster. And I'm going to welcome also Francis Dion to join us here. He's in the background, and he'll be joining us speaking and going through some of the presentation also. Just a quick, as Tony said, a little bit of housekeeping here, a little bit about who we are. Xpertdoc, a software company headquartered in Montreal, Canada. Last year we were proud to be voted the most significant innovation of 2013 by over 230 insurers. Our focus is completely on document output and customer communication technology. We're going to show you some of this live today, and after we go through a few more slides. We have over 200 customers worldwide in health, life, P&C, manufacturing, and we're working with the Microsoft staff, as you can imagine. I mean, best support and leverage of that platform. We're the first worldwide to integrate the worldwide support of the Open XML format, best-in-class support for Dynamics CRM, as we're here to show today, as well as SharePoint for some of the archival of those documents and storage. Also, we are a top performer on Microsoft Azure, and we offer both an on-premise and a hosted solution for your use. Some of the things we'll talk about today is it's mostly interactive and electronic signature, but we also provide batch output, so think invoices at the end of the month, insurance policy output, whether that's 5 or 5,000 or 1,000,000. So we do the batch as well as the interactive, and then, as we said, electronic signature. Just a few of our clients here. We're going to be talking, and Dynamic Communities actually is a client of Xpertdoc, and we'll show you and talk a little bit about that later with Francis and Tony. Husky, Wausau, ABC, CGI, Experlogix, TDCI. These are all in a limited grouping of some of our clients and partners. And again, just to touch on this, we were voted the most significant innovation of the year in 2013 by over 230 insurers. Very proud of this exciting award and look forward to adding some more this year. Now today we're going to use the lead-to-close process as a platform to show you some of the possibilities of how Xpertdoc can improve your Microsoft CRM experience and improve, in general, your lead-to-close process. At the end of the day, no matter what the communication, the document you're creating, we can put that at the fingertips of your end users anywhere within the CRM environment. We pull data from any of the entities within that CRM page. So today, just a little roadmap of where we're going to go. We're going to show some flyers being created from a lead in CRM. We're going to go on to look at creating an NDA with that opportunity. Underneath the quote, we're going to kick out a proposal. And then at the end, we're going to get into some SOWs, invoices. And really what we're going to show is how we can create personalized, accurate documents at the fingertips of your end users from within the CRM page. What's really neat about this is we can completely automate the solution as well as sort of add a hybrid approach based on your company culture. Do you want your end users just being able to hit a single button, automatically creating a document that's email or printed out? Do you want to have them pull some of the data from the screen, click some boilerplate, and then also maybe add a little, on-the-fly information into that letter, into that quote? And we're going to show you a little bit of both of these. And with that, we're actually going to leave this PowerPoint and jump out here and get to the live solution. So hopefully most of you at this point are familiar with CRM 2013. As you see, we have the various offerings. I'm under the lead application right now on the lead panel. And this is, just to give you a heads up, this is a live demo, no smoke and mirrors. I'm running inside a virtual environment today, so hopefully Murphy's Law won't come and bite me, and we'll have no issues going live. But as I open up and pick this lead sent in under Yvonne, you're going to see the general information that you might normally see within the lead. Obviously, each of us sort of configure this a little differently. This is pretty generalized, off the shelf, not too much customization here. But as I scroll down, you're going to see a window opening here. This is our document output, the Xpertdoc window, and it's going to give me some options. Now, this screen you're seeing right now is completely configurable for each and every client. And you can imagine this is based, again, on that company culture. How do your people interact with the system? What are you trying to accomplish? Those are the keys. We're going to pull all the data that you need from any of the entities within CRM, but also from any standalone systems you might also have, whether that's an XML file, an Oracle database, wherever that data resides. Because let's face it, you have more data than just what's in CRM. So we can leverage all that to create that accurate document. So in this case, Ms. McKay is actually in the manufacturing, so I'm going to select a manufacturing. You can see we have checkboxes. We can also add radio buttons, drop-downs, whatever you need here. We have various document output formats. Today we're just going to open up a Word. I can hit Generate Document, and that's going to create that immediate Word document on the fly here. Now the great thing about this is, again, I can do sort of hybrid of this and make it even, give me a window in here that allows me to add some personalized text to it. We can have logos, any of the key documentation we want to add to that document and make it reflect exactly what I want to send to Yvonne. Now here is an example of a piece of marketing material. You can see I just, kept it simplistic. We grabbed her name, talking exactly to Yvonne, maybe some of the information we talked about on the phone ahead of time. You can see I actually included her Make Good Products logo at the bottom of the page. These are just some of the things we do. Maybe, we put in a quote on the fly that reflects, maybe ties more tightly to what Yvonne's trying to accomplish in her setting. So that's a great example of what we can do. But let's go back and just show you, if we pick another lead, I'm going to go back to my lead screen. Let's grab Frank. Now, Frank's a healthcare, is in the healthcare sector from Keep Safe Insurance. So we'll see, again, here's Frank's information, all the data we want to know about Frank, and from an opportunity standpoint. Frank's going to come up, but instead of hold on, wanted to refresh there 1 second, authenticating everything. But instead of, well, this is healthcare, exactly. Okay, so we have this, and if I just select Generate, again, we're going to grab all the unique information that I want to pull about Frank, add it into that document, and have it create it. Now, in the real world, obviously we're doing a demo here, so I want to show you some of this stuff happening. In a real world, I might have that generate and it'll automatically attach to an email and go right out. In some cases, maybe, again, like this, I want to open it up, review it, maybe add some more information to it. You'll see that it's opening up. In this case, I have it, again, opening up in Word, grabs Frank information, Frank's logo, a different quote from Blue Cross Blue Shield about Xpertdoc and how they love us. Here's a nice imagery here. But we still have the complete power of Word. If I wanted to, and give my people the ability, they can alter this, fine-tune it. But again, you can lock this down and have nothing done and just automatically execute out of the system. So we have our lead. Everything's going well. And let's say this is a wonderful day for Jim and we're really doing good on our sales process. So we're going to go and move right to an opportunity. I've talked to Yvonne on the phone while you guys are watching this demo. She would like to execute an NDA. So I'm going to load up, go to my opportunity. Here's the Yvonne opportunity. Click this. And again, I'm going to bring up all that information about that. And as it's loading, I can then roll down and create an NDA. So 1 second, I'm a little faster than the system is today on my virtual environment. But here we go. So now we have a little different offering from what we saw on the last screen. It's a new product launch. launch. Do I want to include any signature? Yes, no. I want to generate that document and then execute that. And what we're going to get is the new, it's going to create an e-signature on this case. And now we have the ability to type in an e-signature. We have, with today's mobile technology, I might want to use my finger. Maybe I'm sitting next to Yvonne, I'm out in the field, and I just want to have it come up and immediately launch into an e-signature process. In the real world, again, this might send out a email that she can click on a link and ask Yvonne to sign this. But I'm going to just click through the process here. It's going to open up and generate my document, ask me to sign and execute this NDA. And just bear with me for 1 second as we get ready. And we'll go through. So again, in this case, I'm having it open live on my computer so I can show you this. In the real world, typically we use e-signature here at Xpertdoc, and we're sending out a contract or any kind of document like an NDA that I need signed. We're going to have it automatically pull that data, merge it into the document, and execute an email out to the end user. So in this case, it'd be Yvonne. She'd get that email, have a little bit of story about what this is, click on the link, it would launch the document and allow her to then walk through the document, review the document, sign the document. You can see down here at the bottom, it actually shows you various steps we can go through. Step 1, Step 2, Step 4, all the way through to finish. We can review the document, and actually we have other capabilities like decline signing. Maybe for some reason I didn't like some of the information in here. I can actually decline signing and send back a note that says exactly why I've declined this. Could not open today. So at that point, I can decline. Well, it's not liking my my issue here today, so we'll close that out. Just I have one I signed actually previously, just to give you an idea. Here is an actual signed document. As you walk through the document and get down to the signature piece, you'll see that it actually gives you the some very unique data here, the date, the time, the second. It actually grabs an IP address and sends this all back to the system. So we create workflows in CRM to be able to take that back, bring it back into the system, update my CRM system to say, hey, the document was signed. I can put a copy of it, attach it under notes or somewhere on the account, whatever level. Again, that's a cultural thing where you would like to store that document, and actually push it out to SharePoint or any other CRM or any other ECM archive solution you may be using. In this case, let's move along. We've got the NDA, and things are going fantastic today for Jim, so we're going to go right along, go over here and create a quote. And we want to send out this quote here. Again, quotes, just like anything else, we can articulate the information we're storing within CRM to make it as accurate as possible. We have all the flexibility of the system, again, to pull in data from our other systems, maybe standalone databases that we want to pull and merge into it and create that an accurate, timely quote on the fly. We can also tie it into the CRM workflow to generate, maybe if the quote's over $10,000, I need to send it to someone else on my staff, management, to approve before it goes out. Again, you can tie it automatically to workflow and get that generating through the system. Sorry for the delay there. Here we go. We have our proposal. I want to click on that and launch it. All the data right now is being merged from within there, pulling it down so we can execute this accurate quote for our systems. One of the things we like to show, depending on the size of the quote, depending on what you're selling there, you might have 1 line item, 20 line items. Depending on what that ends up being, you might want to put a rule in the document that says if we have more than X amount of white space left, insert some added value information. Just slide down here 1 second. Went right by it. Here we go. So we have our quote. I can include or not include intro letter. In this case, I'm not going to include it. I'm going to add, let me put the customer logo in there. Dear value-added customer, here's some boilerplate, default language I have, but since I know this is Yvonne, I'm going to write, and she's not a client yet, so I'm going to say, Dear Yvonne, here's a quote. This language looks good, so I'm going to leave that. I want to generate that document and get it going. So again, you can see from this screen, we've added something a little different, some radio buttons say, I want to include an intro letter, or maybe I don't, or add the logo, make it more, again, personalized. Or instead, I want to add a separate message within the text box, so sort of that hybrid automation, yet still allow my end user, power users to go in there and create some more accurate documents, maybe answer a question that was asked earlier in the morning. Oh, yes, I'm still available for that call later today. Whatever that type of information you want to put in. In this case, maybe in your quotes you want to add a signature line. So you could have that signature capability added in at this point also. And again, we could do that from a mobile perspective as well as you're remote. I'm on one side of the country. I can send it out, and it's going to generate that document and send it out via email. Here we go. Here's our quote. We're going to open it up. And again, you'll see the Make Good logo has been inserted in the document. Dear Yvonne, here's the information I typed in, the date. You go down, you'll see the full, here's my quote. One of the great things about doing this, you can also still have the full ability to word. So maybe I look at this and say, hey, our default colors are blue, but you know what? I like this background, and I like something more, let's go with more of a green shade. So you have those full capabilities. Again, this can be locked down. You don't have to give this to your end users. You want to lock it down. We have our style. We have our color. But you also have that ability to add in there and sort of do a hybrid environment. So here we go, a little bit of everything there. So we got out our quote. The quote's going very well. They've accepted. I'm going to go back now, and I want to put together an SOW. So I'm going to go back to my account screen in this case and load that data and get together an SOW for them to review. Now, some of the things you might want to do in talking about the power of the system, we can do things such as when we're creating that SOW, have some automated rules in the background, maybe variable clauses based upon jurisdiction, based on the product you're selling, based on the client themselves. You've been collecting all this information from years about your clients. You're collecting new data about your prospects. You can leverage that to say, well, if they're in California, here's a special addendum I need to insert into the SOW and have that done on the fly. You don't have to leave it up to Jim. You don't have to leave it up to, hopefully, Jim's not using some old SOW that he has out on a C drive. We're not giving him that option. We're forcing him to take it out of the system, pulling in the accurate data, putting in the right clauses, putting in the right terms. Again, those clauses, data that we have in the system can trigger those jurisdiction-type billing, taxes, sort of let your mind, the wheels turn on that. There's a lot of different things we do in creating our SOWs. Fine-tuning them and leveraging the data from this or your other systems is a very powerful and valuable asset. Again, we're back on the account level. You see all the information about Make Good products and Yvonne herself. Come down the screen here. Oop, I think I shot right by it. I moved this one a little further up the screen. Loading that window. Oh, man, I'm going really there. Okay, so this one's loading some data into the screen right now. Hold on one second, and we'll be able to select our SOW, get our choice of the document we want and the pieces we want to add to it. You'll see right now it loaded some data out of the screen about Yvonne. In this case, this is a rep template, but I want to do an SOW. So give me a selection. You'll see it's going to load different options. In this case, I'm not going to do an e-signature, but I want to generate that SOW, get it created, get it out. So again, we make our SOW, have it out there. Again, the clauses, the addendums, we can insert documents, maybe some data sheets based on what they're buying, some reference information that's a sub-document. Those can all be check boxes. They could be boilerplate. Once we have it here, again, for demo purposes, we have a button that says open it. In the real world, we might have that trigger automatically and just fly. Let me shrink this down. But you can see we grabbed the up-to-date information about make good products, email address, name, today's date. Down in here, you'll see, again, we have the company name, address. Throughout the document, we're make good products, make good products. So instead of filling this out, instead of leaving it on someone's C drive and hopefully they're using the right copy, we're automating it, putting it at the fingertips, and getting this out and execute it. So we can do what we do. Sell more solutions, bring in more business for our organizations. So like everything else I've been talking about today, it's been going very well. They accepted this, they've signed it off, and at this point I'm going to move in down here, down the screen, and get to an invoice. So let's show you some of the things we can do with invoices. And invoices, again, this can be kind of fun, much like a quote, depending on what you're invoicing for, what you sold or are selling. You might have one line, you might have multiple lines. All that can be taken into consideration. We can, again, pull that data to make sure we're getting the right taxes based on what country you're from or what region or what state in the U.S. You might have to insert different taxes, different addendums. I might want to put new logos, things like that into the document. So I selected my invoice that I want to send out here. And another thing we're going to talk about here, and I love doing this, you know, that upselling. Again, we have X amount of white space listed on left in this document. With that happening, maybe I want to insert some trans-promotional information. So based on the time of year it is, the time in the quarter it is, maybe we're running a special, 15% off on services, you know, some kind of added value that I want to share. So here's all my invoice data, probably familiar for many of you. We're going to slide down and grab I've gone right by it again today. There it is. So it's loading my template. I'm going to grab that information, say generate that invoice for me. In a lot of cases, let's face this, we're doing, you know, maybe a number of these every month. At the end of the month, the system's going to be automatically kicking out. But let's say I need to do a one-off. I want to do one on the fly. Maybe that's more your business model. We have this ability to hit this, trigger it, automatic, doing it interactive. Maybe I need to make adjustments based on something that happened on a phone call. I can bring this in, open it up, and make those corrections or adjustments as needed. So again, this is going to open up my Xpertdoc invoice. It has the correct data in here, has all the table information, looks good. And here we have our trans promo. So basically we had some white space left in here, so we want to add a nice St. Patrick's Day information, a nice little promotion, hopefully added value. At the same time, think about it. Based on what they bought, maybe you want, hey, put in, have you considered our X pack, Y pack, Z pack, these additional add-on pieces to your tractor you just bought from us. Whatever those things are, we can add that based on rules, based on variable data. We can trigger that in automated fashion. Behind the scenes, this could be looking at your calendar to see what specials we have, and based on comparing that to the dates as well as the product selected, add in the appropriate information. At this point, I'm actually going to hand this back over to Francis, I think, at this point. Let me slip out of here and go back to our PowerPoint and slide down here a little bit to Francis. Are you with us?
Yes, I am, and I must say I really like your leprechaun promotion.
Thank you. Put a lot of work into that one.
And actually for this segment, so it's really going to be a back and forth between myself and Tony. Tony's going to talk about how Dynamic Communities is actually using CRM internally and leveraging Xpertdoc and Azure Sign. And I'll be talking about some of the possibilities and extensibility options that we provide to this platform.
Okay. That'd be great, Francis. I'd be happy to speak to this. I'm also going to bring in a colleague of mine and unmute her, Liz Hallen, who is part of our team that helped develop some of this. She's in part of the processes that we use, Xpertdoc and Azure Sign. She's been heavily involved with, so I've asked her to help out with some color commentary as well. But if you'd like to go to the next slide, here in the user groups, essentially what we do, our traditional CRM use is really more of an XRM platform where we have custom entities, and we typically use CRM in a very simple fashion for membership relationship management as well as event relationship management. Those of you taking part in this, we schedule events out of CRM. You can see here's the upcoming virtual event calendar that I've created in my event schedule. But that's primarily our use. We don't have a huge need or use right now around Salesforce automation capabilities. We don't have a huge service case use or anything like that yet in Dynamics CRM, but how we use the product in CRM 2011 is for events and membership relationship management. And there are two big areas where this has really benefited us here at Dynamic Communities. And when I say Dynamic Communities, that's the parent company to the user group associations here. I'm formally with CRM User Group. We have NAVUG for NAV, GPUG for GP, and then AXUG for Dynamics AX. So all of the formal Dynamics user groups kind of reside in this environment with us, and this is how we all use our CRM instance. But on the next slide, if you will, the first big thing for us was around membership renewals, and then we'll get to sponsorship sales process, and Liz probably has more details there. And that would certainly help. But let's go to the next slide on the membership renewal process. We don't have a complex sales process. As a not-for-profit type of an association, our ability to ask people or customers, hey, we're an association, your association dues are coming up. We had a process around that in years past where we've leveraged things like workflows. We do push out automated notices to people and so forth saying, hey, you need to renew. But we were stuck on some sticky points, and that was, in the CRM business, for instance, when we're working with CRM administrators and IT professionals or even sales managers, they did not have the buying or decision-making power to say, yeah, you know what, for $400 or $700 your association dues, I'd be happy to renew. They'd get an email from our membership managers and so forth, and they would be chartered with, well, can I get approval to renew this? And a lot of times we'd be stuck in this, time to value situation where our membership manager was communicating with the system administrator, and the system administrator would say, I don't have the process, I don't have the approval or the budget to renew this. I have to go to my controller or to the CIO or others to do this. And they couldn't just take an email from us saying, hey, you need to renew your membership. A lot of times they would ask us for a specific invoice, something I can hand the controller, something we can give and share and store on record, so that we can automate this process quicker. And us doing that manually through a couple phone calls or a few emails would just take time, and it would just really burden our situation. Well, on the next slide you can see that we've automated this process by leveraging the capabilities in Xpertdoc to automate and generate an invoice, tying that to our renewal reminder, which is generated by workflow. And so really our membership managers have very little hands-on with this whole process of sending out a renewal notice, actually invoicing and creating a nice document that they can hand their controller this time and say, here's our formal invoice for our membership due or our association due to the user group community. And it's a very simple thing, and on the next slide you can kind of see our own generated template for this. Again, we're not a complex company with a lot of complex products, so it was very simple. Our line item description there is really of what our product is. We sell 3 products. We sell 3 different forms of membership, and for this customer, here it is an enterprise membership for this cost. Here's your invoice, and it's something a controller can act on. And so for us, this has saved us just uber's amounts of time in our membership managers our ability to get to more renewals. And everybody knows in business with renewal rates staying high, your ability to generate renewals quicker, all of that leads to net new business and to more value for the organization. So this was a huge win for us in being able to generate the invoice with our membership process. And go to the next slide too, and this is kind of what we do to do that. We leverage workflows with that. We embed the Xpertdoc solutions in that. You can see the email properties and things created. And this is one of the many workflows we do to remind our members of their renewal. And this was the 10-day reminder that your renewals do. But it's a very simple way for our administrator to manage to this. And Liz, I unmuted you. Do you have any color commentary to add to our membership renewal process and leveraging Xpertdoc?
I think you covered it very well, Tony. I think the only thing that I would add to it is a little bit about what Jim had demoed earlier, which is, we have one template, and that one invoice template essentially covers the 3 different memberships that we have for CRM UG, but because our internal CRM system itself also covers 3 other user groups, we're able to leverage that one template for essentially 12 different membership types, and actually more because we have partner membership types too. And so it's the information that gets populated into that invoice is dynamically generated by the information that's coming out of our CRM system, which in this case is all custom entities for us.
Yeah, so we're a custom entity, and it didn't matter, so it was huge value to us. And on the next slide, you'll see that process even is, with probably the same type of receipt template, right, across all the user groups. Here's your standard receipt. It's automated based on workflow once payment's received. It isn't something that our controller has to physically email or send a receipt to an organization. It's auto-generated from the system and saves us a lot of time.
Correct.
So that's go ahead, Francis.
Yes, well, first I just wanted to say hi to Liz. It's been a while since I remember when we met last year at Convergence. It was great. And your comment is actually very interesting because we're told by many customers that sometimes they come to us and they have something like in some cases it's 25, in some cases it's 2,500 templates or forms or reports that they have, whether it's for invoices or variations on their contracts or various kinds of letters, and oftentimes there's a reduction on the number of templates and the complexity of managing all that by a factor of sometimes up to 10, and that's also a very big benefit because then everything becomes simpler. You can you have fewer updates to make when something changes. So just another great value-added benefit of the solution.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's just half of, I think, there's 2 big ways I think we're using Xpertdoc today. That was one of them. The other one is more tied, if you want to move the slide forward, Jim, it's really tied to more of a formal sales process. And, truthfully, for our organization, there's probably more selling involved with how we work with some of our the partner members to the user groups and how we formalize our major event. I mentioned Summit on the top of this call, but we have a sponsorship, but part of being an event organization is that our sponsorship process is really probably more of the bigger ticket, kind of the bigger items relative to a sales process. We don't formally use an SFA, a sales type of automation system today in our CRM environment, but we're starting to now. And part of that is tied to the inherent capabilities out of the box with Dynamics CRM and how we're leveraging Xpertdoc that is making this whole process of what our sponsorship manager, Nancy Anello, and I know Liz has a hand in this now as well, but it's making this much more streamlined and simple for us to actually manage that process. Before, she was doing this with roughly 180 different vendors. Our expo and our sponsorship at our major event will have 180 to 200 vendors this year. And so for her to manage that many accounts with a sales process of getting a sponsorship established, getting their expo booth, the contract, all those details, she was doing that in inbox and on a spreadsheet. And it was just painful for her. And so now we're able to kind of use CRM as our repository for all of this information and use some of the out-of-the-box capabilities with products, with quotes, and then leveraging the Xpertdoc solution to generate an invoice, to generate a contract, all of that stuff. And then, of course, use Azure Sign on the back end to get automated signature, electronic signatures. You know, it's just been a huge improvement for us. And our time to value of sponsorship, and hopefully that's helped everybody. Liz, do you want to talk to this process any further, and maybe we can go through the next slides to kind of show some screenshots?
Sure. Yep. I would be happy to do that.
Actually, before the screenshots, I did take the liberty of adding this higher level workflow process, and just so essentially the same thing that Tony just spoke to. But one of the things that I wanted to highlight here is the fact that when we do send out the document for electronic signature to the sponsor, there's also a questionnaire that is being filled out, and once the process is completed, the signed contract gets archived automatically on the CRM, attached to the sponsor record in CRM, and then all the like payment records, all of that information, also what was collected as part of the interview process of signature, also gets filled back into the CRM system. So another I think important aspect of that solution.
Liz, any color to add to this?
I think my color would probably come in the next slides, really kind of diving into the actual process and seeing, you know, following a traditional sales process, starting with an opportunity and really figuring out what that particular vendor would be interested in terms of their package, their summit sponsorship package. We start out with an opportunity and leveraging, you know, products within CRM to create that opportunity. Once we have the opportunity established, really creating the standard CRM quote, but that quote, you know, leveraging Xpertdoc solution to dynamically generate that quote based upon the products that were selected in the opportunity has been a big time saver for us.
And that's on the next slide, I think, right? And the quote template has got a similar look and feel to some of our other templates, just to keep things consistent, but pretty straightforward.
Very straightforward, yeah. It does look a lot like our invoicing template as well. And Francis, I don't know if you want to speak to, I know you worked with someone else on our team to actually get this executed, but essentially we just provided the quotes and invoice templates in a Word document, and the Xpertdoc team was able to work directly out of that, and it didn't take you very long either, Francis.
No, this is literally a sub-hour project, taking Word document and just, you know, essentially opening it in Word using the Xpertdoc template designer, which is an add-on to Word, and then mapping the fields from CRM straight from Word, the Word environment, and just mapping the fields. Here's the quantity, the description, the price, and the total amount, and all the address fields. Just basically point and click interface, and then you push a button, and that's it. The template is published and available either through the interactive interface or workflows.
Correct. So on the next slide, it gets into a little bit. So after the quoting process has been completed, and you know, we hear back from that sponsor saying, yes, we are ready to sign up. Please send us an invoice and a contract. We're able to leverage workflow out of CRM to create an order, and that order generates an invoice. Again, it's basically the same invoice that we use for the membership renewals that Tony showed you, but now it is actually populating the items that this particular sponsor was interested in, including discounts for those things, all from the data that is housed in the order record out of CRM. And on the next slide is so we have a custom entity called payment, which is in our CRM system. We track payments for memberships and for sponsorships. And I just wanted to show you, you know, in addition to generating the documents, these documents also get stored and are associated to the payment records. in our system, so they're very easily accessible. You can see the invoices here, the contract, the original contract that was sent, and then once a contract is signed, the electronic signature copy of that contract is also created and stored in our CRM system, so very easy to access those things. And I believe the next slide includes the screenshots of what the actual signed contract looks like. And going back to Francis' point earlier about, taking so many different templates of things and combining them down into one, that certainly was the case here with the sponsorship package contract. We had a custom template we have 4 different sponsorship levels for each of our events, and so we basically took 16 different sponsorship templates and combined them down, and now we only have one using the Xpertdoc solution, because that one now allows us to dynamically generate the content. So on the right-hand side there, you will see CRMEG Summit Premier Package. The text that resides underneath that is dynamically generated because of the product that was selected in the opportunity and the quote and the invoice, which was the Premier Package. So the Premier Package includes these things, and this text is stored in CRM and pulled into the Xpertdoc template and then delivered to the end sponsor for e-signature. The other thing that I wanted to point out here on the left-hand side of your screen, I have some things blocked out there, but you'll see the e-signature that's stored. This is what the document looks like as it's stored in CRM as a PDF for us. In the solution, we are able to capture user inputted data into the contract, and that user inputted data is then written back into our CRM solution, which is very handy for us. And also dynamic or automatically, does things like capture the date and timestamp of when it was signed. That information can then be stored in our CRM system so that we can do other things later. I don't have it on this screen, but for example, one of the things that we ask in our contract is, how do you want your name displayed in your printed materials? How do you want your name displayed in the conference guide at the event, for example? The end user, the person that's actually signing this contract, types in that information, and that information then gets stored in a field in CRM for us to leverage later down the road. So it's very slick for us, and I know that our sales, Nancy, our sponsorship sales lady, this has saved her just oodles and oodles. I can't even count the number of hours of time that this has saved her. Because prior to this, she was manually creating a contract for every single one of the 180 to 200 sponsors, one by one, and making them custom for each of those people. So huge value and benefit for us.
Yeah, and because of the Xpertdoc solution and us being committed to workflows and in the process of all of this being native in CRM, I can only imagine what it's like for her and now you, Liz, when we're working with customers of, in the neighborhood of 200 vendors, what that process is like, having to manually track that information, manually send Word documents from your hard drive. All of that stuff was disparate in someone's siloed world. Now it's all inherent a part of CRM. It's native to our environment. It's native to how we work with people. It's visible to everybody in our organization on what we're specifically doing with these vendors for our event. And it's just the right thing to do for the business. So it was a no-brainer.
And I really want to commend you guys because, of course, we try to provide the best technology that we can, but it really boils down to do we have the business people that understand the process and that have the vision of seeing how going from 16 templates to one and having all of that automation and the format of asking for the public-facing name of the partner as part of the signature contract. So that was very well done. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. And guys, if this is the end of the prezo, may I recommend, I see our question queue starting to fill up with a lot of great questions. Do you have more to go through, or is this your contact slide? This is
just our contact slide. Francis, do you have anything else? We can go on to questions.
No, I think we can go to questions.
Okay. Well, thanks for being flexible, and I'd recommend everybody to reach out directly to the Xpertdoc team here with further details or inquiries. But let's dive in. And first question, I'm gonna just because we just ended with our kind of case study. Rob was asking us, Rob Gillespie, good question here. Liz, do you know how many hours it took for us to set up our Xpertdoc? I mean, how many hours did we put into this to set up those templates and things? Any ballpark there for Rob?
Well, there certainly was some time on our team, but then there was also time on the Xpertdoc team to assist us with that. Honestly, we already had our Word documents created because we were already sending out contracts before in Word. We already had an invoice and a quote in a Word document. So really, we just sent those existing templates to them. Maybe it took about an hour's worth of time to get it updated for this year, but really not any more time than we would have spent before.
Yeah.
Francis, are you able to speak to the time it took your team to create?
And I think, if I remember correctly, it's something in the neighborhood of maybe 2 or 3 days total, including configuring the system, making sure that the authentication and the configuration on the workflows. But I think it was in that neighborhood, something like that. I think throughout the various projects that we've completed, I just poked Yannick who worked on your account, and over the last year, I think he spent a total of 6 days supporting you guys. So that's that was fairly straightforward.
Okay.
6 days to get us to help us with the membership renewal process as well as the sponsorship sales process, correct?
Yeah, including some training and setting up the production and dev environment and creating the templates and mapping them to the workflows, some back and forth and the requirements gathering. So all included.
Sounds good, guys. Well, let's dive into some product question on Xpertdoc. I promised Carly DeVera here that she'll be question number 1, and I'm sorry, Carly, you'll be question number 2, I guess. But she was asking, where is this data hosted and accessed by the signer? It was back early in the process. Can you guys talk to that?
So actually, Jim, do you have the signing interface for that contract?
Let me see if I still have that up.
So essentially, what the signer receives an email. On that email, click a link, and when they click the link, that will not be on the demo environment, Jim. It's the email that I sent you.
Oh, I actually have already gone through that, I think. But let me see. Give me one second here.
Essentially, the signer receives an email, clicks on the link, and then is brought to the e-signature platform, which is provided by AsureSign. And the e-signature platform can either be on-premise or on the cloud. Typically, it's on the cloud. They have a fully compliant PCI approved for credit card processing environment. And can you go back to the email, please, Jim?
Oh, sorry.
So this is a sample email that gets sent, and everything that pretty much everything that you see in that email can actually be customized to reflect either your legal or branding or support requirement. And so I'm essentially being invited actually to the link, and then go to the signing interface.
I've already signed this.
So you completed that. So but essentially then. So the information being captured is put into the document, and the document is then retrieved automatically in CRM. So all the information that I typed in, we see here the example where there's a legal name, but there's also the company name that as it should appear in the material. So Xpertdoc Technologies versus Better Documents Faster, and then all of these data points then become available in CRM and can be assigned to any related entity in the CRM interface.
Very good. So the data is hosted locally in your own environment then.
Yes,
good.
Yes. Yeah.
Mike Kraft's got a good question on authentication. Is authentication required for each record load? Or can authentication occur when a user signs into CRM? Can you explain? Can you talk about that?
So it all depends again on the type of deployment that you have. The Xpertdoc platform support Active Directory authentication, ADFS also. So for internet-facing deployment, we support form authentication, so basically a username, password, and even social media authentication. So you can use your LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook account to sign in to the Xpertdoc platform. So obviously, when you deploy on the on-premise using Active Directory, then it's all the user is automatically authenticated. When you deploy the internet-facing deployment, then we use Active Directory Federation services, so it's also automated. In other scenarios, it boils down to web security and authentication infrastructure that you have set up at your organization, and then we can either leverage that or provide a simple, as said, username password type authentication.
Very good. And then to follow on that, Mike had another good question around the integration with business process flows in CRM 2013. Can Xpertdoc be integrated into those flows on that, on the flow UI per se, process UI?
Yes, absolutely, because one of the integration point is really just a workflow that can trigger automatically. So whenever the business process flow is activated, that actually results in a field being updated in CRM, and then we can initiate any type of communication or output based on that.
Okay. Does Xpertdoc, John Clifton, good question, does Xpertdoc have document creation functionality built in, or are all templates created in Word, etc.?
So all templates are created in Word. We do provide some out-of-the-box templates for things like invoices and quotes, and all the project management institute forms are also available as a package if someone is interested in things like change request and the project charter and things like that. But it's mostly we take whatever you have and we can quickly turn that into an Xpertdoc template fully integrated in CRM.
Okay, very good. And does the electronic signatures work? John is asking a good question. Do the electronic signatures work when you're accessing CRM from a mobile device like a Surface? Is the experience the same regardless of device?
Yes, so the electronic signature can be done on iPad, iPhone, Android, Windows Phone, any device really.
Very good. Thank you. And the last.
I can find this document from an iPad.
Oh, you did good. Well, and the last few questions kind of tie to the pricing model around the Xpertdoc solution. There's also a question in here from Rob around the Azure Sign product and how they have their payment model around there. I don't know if you want to get into that or if there's best ways to address kind of what that looks like, or maybe Rob and Carly should just get in touch with you. Rob also has a good question around an NFP copy of Xpertdoc that maybe Microsoft partners can leverage. There's a couple Microsoft partners on this call. What's your advice there, Jim and Francis, and how you work with the channel, but also on what some people might have relative for pricing questions relative to Azure Sign and Xpertdoc?
Yeah, sure. So as far as the pricing model goes, both for Xpertdoc and Azure Sign, we have very flexible models available, either per seat or subscription or even sometimes a per document. And so it really boils down to what are the scenarios, how many users, how many documents, things like that. But we have the flexibility of making it fairly attractive, and certainly we are committed to making sure that you have a quick and profitable ROI for leveraging the platform. So the best thing to do is probably get in touch with us, and an account executive is going to contact you back and discuss your requirements and provide you a quick quote based on that. As far as the partners goes, yes, we do actually have a comprehensive partnership program where partners get access to non-production versions or internal use, production but internal use only copies of the software or environment if it's on the cloud. So certainly open to discuss that with Rob and all the other partners on this call.
Okay. Thank you for that, guys. And, you know, I want to make sure people understood, too. And if you didn't see, obviously, from our case study, you know, clearly a lot of people are excited about CRM 2013 and how you know, are a part of that environment. But everybody saw that we're, in the user groups, we're still using Dynamics CRM 2011. So half the members I know inside the CRM user group were not quite upgraded yet to 2013. I know a lot of people just finished their 4.0 to 2011 conversion even. So Xpertdoc is certainly capable in the 2011 environment, and you know, we're living examples of that. Rob had one final question, and you know, I don't know if this is something we can get into because I think every customer situation is different. Are there any guidelines to what a typical consulting hours project looks like for Xpertdoc? I mean, you kind of heard from us guys firsthand that it took us about a week when it was all said and done, and we had a lot of the templates and our contracts and things defined. Our invoice templates were pretty straightforward, but it took about a week for us to get up and going. I don't know if you have guidelines that you would share, or that's probably on a one-off.
Oh, but I can certainly tell you that speed of implementation is one of the fortes of the platform. Though we have multiple customers which we deployed, installed, and boarded in just one day. The more typical is maybe something like 2-3 days, just because you know there's always discussion about what else can you do with that, and how far do you want to go. But 1, 2, 3 days is fairly typical. We actually had an insurance company that told us that their process was so complicated that they needed 100 days of professional services, and we didn't believe that, but they insisted, and they even decided to prepay, and so we accepted their money, we did the work, and then we sent them a check for $70,000 because that's how much they had overpaid for the services. So we are pretty efficient. The technology works, and onboarding is typically fairly straightforward.
Thank you, Francis. And I know you've been a great partner with us internally on our project, so we certainly appreciate it as well. And hey, given that we're 3 minutes past the top of the hour, we are all through our questions. I want to be respectful of your time as well as our members' time and everyone else on the call. Just wanted to sincerely thank you and Jim for diving into this with us today to go through your solution, and we've certainly found value from it, and I hope others do too. So I hope everyone has a great afternoon, and thanks for your time, Francis and Jim.
And Tony, likewise, Dynamic Communities has been a great customer and a great partner also. So we're pleased that you're happy with the result.
All right, sounds good, guys. Go have a good afternoon, everybody. We'll talk to you again.
Bye.